This is video 5 of our virtual piano code along. In this video we're going to be creating our black keys on our keyboard. So at the moment they're all white, they're all working and playing if you follow along, and we just want to make it look a little bit more like a piano by having some of these keys be the little black keys. So we're going to change some of the styles of a few of the keys. So we're working with the CSS and we're working with the HTML as well. I didn't go through all of the switch statement in the last code along because it's a lot of copy and paste work, so hopefully you've gone through and completed that. If not, you can always jump into the tab, go to say point 4 and copy the code that you need from here. Okay, so like I say, all the keys in your code should be working. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to single out a few of these keys to become our black keys. So I'm going to pick this key here. I'm going to give it a second class. So you can give a HTML element as many classes as you want. The way you do this is you add a space in between them and you say the other class that you want. So that's going to be I'm going to call it a half key. I know it's not a half key, but to the layman it's half the size of the other keys, so that's why I'm calling it that. So I'm going to select 3 keys to be my half keys. If I hit the run button, at the moment it will make no difference because even though I've added a class in of half to them, I haven't added any styles here in the CSS for it. So what I need to do is I need to add a half CSS selector in here. So it's a class, so I use a full stop. It's called half, so I'm going to say half, and I'll open my brackets, and here I can apply some styles to it. So just to check that this is all linked up correctly, the first thing I would say is let's change the background colour to black. Hit run. And you can see that 3 of my keys now are black. And what I'm doing is I've got the key class and the half key class applied to this span, and because the half key class is lower down in the CSS, it will overwrite any styles that I've applied to the key. So this span gets all of the styles for the key and all of the styles for the half. But the half will take priority over the key because it's lower down in the CSS file. So I've got it as black. I want to make them smaller as well. So I'm going to say I'm going to overwrite the width and make that 20 pixels. I'm also going to overwrite the height and make it about half the height. Let's run this, see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see that they are smaller black keys. They still have the hover applied to them, we'll change that later, but they're lower down. I want them to be top aligned rather than bottom aligned. The way I can do this is I can set their position to be absolute, and what that does is that sets them to take them out of the flow of the page. So they no longer push any elements to the left or right across. Those other elements act as if they don't exist, essentially, and it will drop them in at the top. So that's what I've got here, and that's why they're overlapping as well, because the other elements are not taking into account that these exist. And what I want to do next is I'm going to change the margin. So I'm going to set the margin to 0 and -10. So 0 pixels for the top and the bottom, and -10 for the left and the right. Run this, and you'll see that the keys now overlap. So like on a keyboard, the black keys kind of sit on top of the white keys. So they're looking far more like they should do on an actual keyboard, which is great. And then they keep on, whenever I'm hovering over them, they keep on going ivory. I don't want that. I would rather they be kind of a darker grey. So I'm going to say .half, and then I need to select them in the hover state. So hover, open up my brackets, and then set the background colour to whatever I want. So I could say dark grey, for example. Hit run, and when I hover over them, they are dark grey. And they still work exactly like they did before. So I know it's not quite like a real piano that affects the sound of the other keys around them, but this is just a simple kind of effect for us to look at. So there I have it. I've got my little black keys. I've converted a few of the full keys into the little black ones, and it looks a bit more like you would expect a piano to look.